Yeah. I thought I had a full other minute in the 3.5-minute song to prepare a quality intro.
Hey, what's up?
No
And then
time.
lower thirds.
No, let me move here. I'll move here. Oh,
Yeah.
Whoa!
Larry in the background.
I live in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome.
Under new
everyone.
management, guys.
A lot of people in chat excited not only to see Steve Joel doing an amazing art with Arcs of Omen song, but also excited to see the whiteboard in use in the background right there. I think that's the most exciting part.
Mm-hmm.
Danny, how are you? It's been a good week since I've seen your face. I'm sorry, 2 days. Same thing.
It's just been a mere 2 days since we've last graced each other's presence. I've been good. I've been recovering from LVO sickness. So yeah, I'm doing better. How about you, man? How are you doing?
Dude,
Does anybody ever ask you that?
No. Everyone asks, "Who are you?" No one ever asks, "How are you?"
It's true.
And you know that I'm good. I'm good. I'm a pro painter now. I don't know if you heard.
Yeah, I know that. It's
Well, we're to get to that later. Val, how are you doing post LVO?
I'm actually pretty good. Feeling pretty light in my loafers. Won't lie to you. I'm recovered. Everyone else seemed to have caught some form of respiratory disease of
Plague?
various ilks. Although I was before the show complaining of random nosebleed, which I chalked up to quitting nicotine. I'm sure those two things are related. John, the producer in me is actually suddenly questioning whether or not you're using the right microphone.
I think you sound great-ish. And that's all that matters here, guys.
Okay.
We're listening. We've heard you. We
you're
took
on
a
the wrong
couple weeks
microphone.
off, 1 week because we were prepping for LVO, and another week because I was on a plane and I refused contractually to let better episodes happen when I'm not here. But before
that was
we took
sick day.
That's I use my one. I'm in America. I get one unpaid. In this first slide here, I just want to remind people here of really our ultimate goal here with Grim After Dark, and that is the Wingdings dice, or the Winning Dings dice.
Winning Dings.
Some time was spent at a production dinner trying to figure out exactly how to order these after kicker balked to the hardness of the task.
Yes.
Val, what's our progress on the Winning Dings dice?
Oh, I was unaware that. In fact, I have the EP credit on the Winning Ding dice. First of all,
you were the one talking with Pete the Falcon at the table, looking at a phone, being like, "Guys, we just have to buy 1,000 of them."
Peter's the kind of guy that gestures wildly and makes bold proclamations, and then I smile along and nod, and often that works out to my favor. And in this case, I have no idea what the conclusion of the Wingding dice off was. I suspect it's doable, and I do recall something like 1,000 dice would need to be ordered. How much per unit? That's my only question. Let's ballpark it here. 20 cents? How much does a dice cost? Right,
Danny. How much is a unit?
How much is a unit?
How much for one dice? Like if you had to buy a minimum order of 1,000 dice, how much per dice do we think?
Oh, I think if you use Chessex and that kind of stuff, I bet you can get it down to about 50 cents. Maybe a dice, something like that.
A $500 investment in
maybe
inventory.
more.
That might be the funniest white elephant of all time. Like,
I think so.
If we sell
There's
1,000
useless dice.
If we sell one set of Wingding dice, and I just happen to have just a fucking shipping container of the most useless dice in the world, that's okay by me. I feel like
here's the thing, right?
A worthwhile investment.
1,000 dice is $500, but if we sell them for $1,000 each, just think of the profit.
We're only selling one set, so we would
wildly unrealistic.
Yes,
the market will bear it.
But where's our break-even point, right? Like, how much will people spend on Wingding dice? Minimum $40.
We gotta figure it out. They're gonna happen.
Yeah, that seems accurate.
We want people to roll File Cabinet Plus.
As Bill Murray once said, it's a gravy train with biscuit wheels. And Kingpin is a great film. No one picked up on it. It's fine. And for God's sakes, John, I'm
Coming
pretty
in
sure you're using
saying
the wrong
we
microphone.
got to buy in at the early stage.
Can't
Yeah,
hear
we're
me.
seed funding right now for
You
winning
can't
ding
hear-
dice.
All right.
Quality. Let's move on. Before we get to some other stuff, I've saved this one for a couple of weeks, and I really want to pull it out and show you all how impressive it is. It's this meme here.
Pulling out.
It's the Scroll of Truth. There will never be a Horus Heresy series. Astartes are too inhuman to be the protagonists of a TV show or film. Gentlemen, discuss.
Discuss in what way?
See, now that you don't have producer stress, your comebacks are much more hurtful. But I think for say the upcoming TV shows and everything they're doing, are people expecting Astartes to be like the central characters, or are they too inhuman to be something that can be like a central character, Danny?
I mean, I don't think it's too inhuman. I think, especially if you're going to do heresy stuff, that's before they became like hypno indoctrinated, so they had more humanistic personalities.
From the floor.
Yeah,
Space Marines are actually different now. Like
they don't have dicks.
Hypno indoctrinated.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, they do that to speed up training because they die so much, especially if they're an Imperial Fist.
Big Fister. So what you're saying here is that they wrote into the lore a reason for Space Marines to be not as interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like Space Marines are to 40K what Bella is to Twilight. Just like a blank character that a bunch of Morons can insert themselves over and feel good.
Just a bunch of dickless transhumans. I got you.
You got it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, anyway, I think that obviously if they sell the license to these things, Space Marines are just going to be treated like dudes in cool armor with big guns that are fun.
Yeah.
And of course,
I hope The Rock plays one.
Yeah, come on.
And he says things like, "Oh yeah, let's space some Marines." Do you think, Danny, are we ever going to see our OG like original Baby Marine on screen, or are we at a time where it's only going to be Primaris?
Oh, I mean, you got to put the Primaris. I don't know though. I mean, they made that whole.
One's got to hope that I'm just going to pick up where Danny left off here. You got to hope maybe they take the opportunity to just, I don't know, make Space Marines one height. I mean, that might be an opportunity to just like make them 8 feet tall all the time instead of.
Don't want to do like conspiracy theories, but is it any coincidence that we're making fun of Amazon and the products that Danny bought from Amazon failed in that moment? Danny, is that coincidence or is that planned?
John, I definitely wouldn't ever say anything bad about Amazon. I wouldn't want them to think that I was not a fan or that I didn't want my products to keep working. So I definitely wouldn't give that impression.
Mostly I'm concerned, not necessarily about the product I already have ceasing to work. I'm more concerned about the flow of product trickling off. Like if I were to just be cut off, like I might starve to death. And it's not like I order food from Amazon. I would probably just cease to be able to feed myself. I need you, Jeffrey. Don't cut me off ever, please. Please. I need you.
Amazing. So we're gonna move on here to what was a very surprising part of my week, and a very humbling part of my week.
You gotta stay humble.
Where we were sent Angron.
It shouldn't have been.
So which I painted up. And good old GW was like, "Hey, if you painted him, send us a picture. Maybe you'll get an article." So I sent in our little Angron. Won't you know, if you look at this next slide here, it was the very first one they previewed.
Nice.
Right beside Caleb Wisdomback's the official event GW one. There's a beautiful one on the bottom left, which is some great wing transitions.
Yeah.
And then there's my piece of shit right there.
Well, I mean, piece of shit. I don't know if he's a piece of shit.
I mean, other than the basing, I think it's probably fine.
I mean, that Angron's not a piece of shit for the basing. You're a piece of shit for the basing.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Let's not blame Angron for this.
Yeah.
However, I do remember you snickering a lot about the flesh tone Angron. What was it? What was your name for him? You had a name.
Mangron.
Angron.
And that entire paint scheme
Who's
came
Mangron?
from me just wanting to paint Mangron.
I feel like a piece of you got worried though, and you backed off the flesh tone a little bit.
Oh, it's I mean, I got it right here.
It's a little red.
Like it went pretty. It's still pretty flesh tone. It might just be I had terrible lighting in my kitchen counter where I took that very official picture.
No, that was
Did you fix the base rim?
Have you?
We'll get to that.
Did you do it?
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Reshoots?
Why couldn't we already talked about it.
They had that in the budget.
MS Paint it out. Just MS Paint the base rim. Just
here's my question. Okay, GW New Frame Wild. They were putting this very average Angron in amongst all these amazing painters, and they couldn't go in with like Photoshop and just black the rim or just remove the rim.
Enhance.
What happened, what was great is when they did the background remove, they actually removed part of the paint on the tip of his tail too.
So John, it's their fault you're a lazy bastard. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, well, if we go to Dickie, if you go to the next slide here, we're going to see exactly the reactions that I got here.
This is where...
which...
Go ahead.
Let's I want to get you guys' reactions from this here. The first one I have here is, sorry, John, blasting it with contrast I can almost forgive, but not painting the base rims is a heresy unto itself. How do we feel about that? By the way, yeah, he's still not base. The rim's never going to get painted. He will stay like that forever.
World famous.
Like, actually, yeah, that is an artifact now. That has been lionized.
It's part of Warhammer community lore.
It is
part
of the Warhammer.
Not contrast. Yeah. Not contrast. So I take that as a benefit to my paint job.
There's no contrast on that model?
Well, I mean, there's some. Blasting is awfully thing.
Well, hold on. There was a blurb. There was a blurb on the slide there that I kind of that we didn't read that I thought looked kind of tasty. Producer Dickie, Adam Goldsmith Fury. I know these guys get a mini for a blink before GW wants it back for photos, but come on, that's lazy. All right, it wasn't as harsh as I.
Matt Lee's 2 comments against you though. Yeah. That guy really doesn't like you.
No, that's fair. I'm an ass. And someone says here, I was just about to post this. Messy base rims really spoil a model, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then paint your base rims. Most of them did, apart from John, who also used the tip of Angron's tail.
Yeah, I don't want to put down people's paint jobs. Big Dickie, give me that back. Yeah, I don't want to put down people's paint jobs, but sometimes I wonder about the people who get in these.
So I will say I woke up on Thursday morning to lots of wonderful, great, supportive messages. I know Kicker from FLG posted my own. I was like, oh, great job, man. Everyone's like, great, awesome. So I did the thing that you never do, and I went into the comments section to see what people were saying. And that was very humbling. But on the plus side, the comments went from, yeah, paint your rims, it looks like shit, or man, how did you even get this, to people like, I'll never be able to paint this good. And me responding with, no, literally, you can.
You can.
It's quite, yeah, it's beautiful.
You too cannot paint your base rim.
I do want to share, moving on to this next slide here. This is the legitimate email I sent GW with the pictures of Angron. I obviously took out the person's name we interact with here. But the email says, hey, I'm obviously very pro-contrast and wash, but here is our unique Angron, lovingly titled Mangron due to his all-natural 31st millennium skin tone. Inspired by Hulk Hogan, too much of the skin was covered by armor to bother with the art coat-covered abs, but I love him all the same. Blood for the blood god John.
It's beautiful.
Nice.
It is. They described it as heavily burnished brass. I describe it as retributor gold covered in Drushi violet.
Right.
Who's wrong? Who's right? Who knows? All I know is John is not pro rimming.
I hope that this thing just acts. It's like, I hope that model becomes the Forrest Gump of Warhammer miniatures, and just winds up in White Dwarf somehow. And then from White Dwarf, you're just going through Warhammer World in a few years, and just for some reason there's a poster of Angron, and that's become the photo of Angron. I just want him to live forever. and his unpainted base will haunt your nightmares.
I would legitimately hate having created Warhammer content for 5 years now, Danny. I think five years or something like
More
that.
than that.
Was it only been
For my
5 years?
lasting legacy to be a shittily based model.
A classic, really. But that, John, is that not a highlight of yours and my career?
Oh,
I would love to go out on a note like that. Like, oh, that guy, shitty painted base.
The Johnest
This
shit
here,
I've ever.
this is the
Literally.
bases of kings. Look at that.
We now.
And then if you look at top down, yeah, that's
Nice.
just like one
Beautiful.
texture with no washes, bitches. That's right.
When you get famous in this game now for doing something shitty, we're going to call it a Quennell.
Oh no! No! That's
No.
harsh. Who invited
That's
the real
fair, though. To
podcaster?
be fair, I think the real thing if something was half-assed, it should be a Quennell.
You know what? You're right. We should stop the show and spend 4 hours talking about a book that'll be out of date in 3 weeks. That was a very deep cut dig against Adam Camilleri's 2-part show.
Oh my god. I recorded 6 hours of Necron content.
You did. I love you for it. Thank you so much.
What's
Love
most
you,
people
Adam.
don't know though is we will
Love you
go
too,
in
Danny.
depth in about it, but that will be in part 2, which is behind a paywall.
Perfect.
Guys,
Also,
I found
Adam's current vacation brought to you by his much better business sense than us.
I do like the life hackling from Adam. Usually I can ignore it in the comments.
It's
section,
good, but he
not
kind
today.
of
Not today.
he's never bringing an intimidating vibe with it, though. So we'll see. But he's
Because
also
messing with the
fondling a
whiteboard.
llama
These
suit
ideas
right
might
now.
actually happen now.
Ooh,
What
what a model.
a model. Beautiful
Mhm.
man.
Coiled
Guys,
beard.
moving on. I found this, and this was also sent to me, but I found it on Facebook. It says, Daddy, do you want to maybe describe what we're seeing here?
So this is a Microsoft Notes, an image of a note, or not Microsoft, but Apple Notes.
Yes.
It says January 31st, 2023 at 10:41 p.m. Titled Drukhari. Help me. I want to buy a Drukhari army because I don't have enough sadism in my life. Thank you. I saw a guy use his Notes app for a photo, so this is my go at it. Period. Then, several returns later, you have what appears to be a list, maybe a shopping list that says green beans, Dippin' Dots, and 32 pounds of butter. Beautiful. Beautiful.
I don't know.
Daddy, what is he making for dinner?
You know, I don't want to speculate too much.
It's literally all we do.
That's Sunday brunch at a Warhammer Grand Tournament if I ever saw one.
That's a lot of butter.
It's a lot of butter. It's a lot of butter.
It disappoints me reading that because I didn't notice the 32 pounds of butter, so I thought on first glance that was in fact an authentic accidental share of also his shopping grocery list. So that's a bit disappointing for me that it was actually a bit and that I was had by that bit.
That's a pretty good bit, though.
It's a shame.
It's a great bit. It's a good bit.
Danny, why does a Drukhari army add more sadism to his life?
Well, John, you're talking about some models that are sharp, hard to handle, potential danger to the user. So this person obviously is interested in dealing with a set of easily broken sharp models, and so that's my opinion on why he considers it to be sadism.
I if I could wager a guess, it would be because the Dark Eldar lore is deeply steeped in sexual slavery.
What? No, it's not.
No, maybe the 4chan Dark Eldar lore.
Yeah, I think maybe you're thinking of like some, real like weeb kind of wish list kind of stuff. No, that's not how it really is.
Then they captured a bunch of human slaves.
The Asdrubal Vect model, please. If you could just dial up Asdrubal Vect for me. I just want to have a quick glance at the potential.
I want to jump in a
I don't know
chat
what you're
here. I
talking
want to
about.
say,
That doesn't even seem real.
Nikki D. Williams, as much as I love you, F you, as he said, one can probably finish the rim of his model with 32 pounds of butter.
You would think.
Which, true.
John could
Dying.
rim a lot of models with 32 pounds of butter.
It's a real French connection.
No chapped lips there.
No, just but lots of acne.
All right, fine.
We're looking it up here. My question is, where do you buy Dippin' Dots wholesale, Danny? You can you buy them
Good
in a
question.
supermarket?
And if anybody knows, please tell us
let
in the
me know.
chat because we're really interested in a large amount of Dippin' Dots.
Wasn't there a Donald Trump press secretary that like started a Twitter flame war with Dippin' Dots over them going out of business? Does anyone remember this? This is like a fucking fever dream from the Trump administration. But there was definitely an official who picked a Twitter fight. Chad, help me out over Dippin' Dots.
I do love that it sounds like a believable story, but I don't know if it's true or not. But it could be.
No, it's real.
Certainly sounds true.
With Sean Spicer.
Spicer, yeah, there it is. Yep.
Oh my god.
Oh well. If you're still looking for that there, we've just completely gone off the rails. Danny, we did a mob rules last week, or Saturday.
Yeah.
And, right here, where we talked about the new World Eaters book.
Yep.
Complete with chevron lower thirds telling people our names. I guess while we're waiting for Diggy to reappear, what was your take on World Eaters, real quick?
Oh yeah, really cool book.
Sexy.
Obviously it's going to be 1D. It's about assault. Yeah, you want to talk about World Eaters for a minute, Adam?
Yeah, talk about World Eaters for a bit.
Sure. They are very.
What's your one paragraph description of World Eaters?
Yeah,
narrow in playability.
Okay.
They have a very narrow band of things that they can do and do well. And all of them are pretty much geared off most of their new units. Take their new units plus Zerkers, and you're pretty much good to go. You are able to essentially play kind of like a pseudo-orc army, in that you kind of just hurl yourself at your opponent and get secondary points by doing so, which is nice. But yeah, the way that their core mechanic works with the Blood Tithe points, which thank you very much, GW, for bringing back the best mechanic of 7th edition, which was the Khorne Demon King Blood Tithe points. By getting your stuff killed and killing your opponent's stuff, you generate points, which you can then use to buff your whole freaking army. And you spend them, and essentially like Power from Pain, they're active for the entire rest of the game. So MSU is the way to go to generate more of them. You want to get your stuff killed, and you want to kill their stuff at the same time. So 3x1 Chaos Spawn, a bunch of Rhinos, minimum Zerkers in Rhinos, that kind of stuff goes a long way. And yeah, they essentially don't buy any Warlord traits or relics, don't buy any of that crap. They all suck. But there's 4 good stratagems, so front load.
I mean, I think you want the Lord Invocatus Warlord trait. That thing is unbelievably good.
He's the only one I'd consider. Yeah, he's the only one I'd consider. Yeah. It's interesting. I think, have you guys looked over it? Do you think you can extrapolate much of this for the direction of 10th edition codexes, or is this just them slapping a new paint job on a lunchbox?
I think we're going to see a huge simplification. I think we're going to get, honestly, a lot of generic stratagems for every army in the main book. And then the army codices are going to have a very limited number of stratagems, warlord traits, and things like that.
I'm totally cool with that, though. 1-page strats, I'm really into. I think that's totally fine.
It's amazing that everybody who I've put this question to is all absolutely okay with it. I don't know any reason why T-Suns need 9 cults. I know what exactly 2 of those things do, and that book has been out for well over 12 months, and I know of exactly 2 of those things. Same could be said for Custodians, same could be said for all the freaking cults and cabals of not Blackheart. And, there are so many things we do not need in the game. I think we are losing something from a Flavor Town level. But if we're playing matched play and we're leaning into this, I think this is good.
I'm fine with sub-factions. I just, but I hear what you're saying. Like a great reduction in the number would be make things easier a lot.
Do you want to hear my spicy take? Sub-factions should be their own books.
All of them.
They could just be
All-
supplements.
It's just not even something like just their own books, like marine supplements, things like that. Sure, perfect. But like
So
base books should be nice and simplified. Sub-factions should be nice and
Well,
simplified.
and the way that they formatted the new Angrons list, I can see them using that for like Space Marine chapters potentially, like as a way to kind of make them different.
Absolutely.
Or or like even Eldar, any kind of sub-faction you could do that with. I think it would be a really easy way to make.
But
like
if
a supplement
the future is we get like a Space Marines book that has 1 page of strats, and then a Dark Angels book that has 1 page of strats, and that's it, I think that's for the better. I think that is
that's
for the better. And like 3 Warlord traits, 3 relics, that's for the better too. Yeah,
I
Dark Angels.
do like in the World Eaters book that the special characters have unique traits that no one else can take. I think that's a way better call than just they have to take this one. Oh, but also this other guy can take it too. And it really increases like the viability of like, I should take that special character for that thing.
So it makes that army play like the special character is supposed to be, right? Like, so it kind of reinforces the fluff with rules, and that's kind of the way to play that style of play. You have to take that warlord, which I think is interesting.
Yeah.
The other thing, so one of the biggest issues I think in competitive 40k at the moment, this could be a question for the show, is the burden of knowledge put upon the players a good thing or a bad thing? Because that's what
it's both, right?
Yeah, exactly. Discussion point. I'm a giver. What can you say?
You using LVOs, and by the way, chat's complaining we're talking too much about 40k, and you're being a bad influence.
That's
bad.
True. Sorry. I'm sorry.
If you take something like LVO, right, where you have, say, like you are drawing round one against, like, say, it's Jack Harpster versus Paul Smith from Florida. This doesn't play. Like, there's expectations going in that game at a knowledge level, right? Where you should be like, Paul's like, wow, hey, you're an Art of War coach and you won the LVO last year. How come you don't know about this random sub-faction of Drukhari that I take that no one else does? So exactly, I think like
right.
It's like an imbalance.
Yeah, I think it makes it more accessible for people too.
Yeah, absolutely. Dickie, do we have an inappropriate model lined up that Val was looking for? Perfect.
There it is.
There he is. We're advertising
Bell of
Lost Souls as
well.
well.
Just a little convertible like action going on. Swimming with the wind in their hair.
Just a little Princess Leia vibes on the skiff. I mean, it's not like they're chained to it or anything.
They're literally
so
chained
they're
to it.
willing passengers. They're consenting to be on said ride.
As Rubelvac is very much concerned with informed and ongoing consent. That's really everything that drives his decision making.
While they are chained to that raider in metal bikinis, they do that of their own free will.
Yeah,
and they do have a safe word that can be used at any time to be freed.
Banana.
Danny, are you surprised that this model is no longer in production?
Am I surprised this model is no longer in production? That's the question.
Yeah.
No, I'm not surprised at all. Have you seen it? Can we get that back up?
It's not good. It's not a good look.
Danny wasn't finished. Bring it back.
Yeah, just give me a minute with my face not on the screen, please.
Legitimately, the thing about this model that we need to keep in mind is that this is 1998, and we did not know any better.
Yeah.
It was a different time. There wasn't even a Matrix movie yet. Star Wars still only had 3 movies.
I mean, Limp Bizkit at a minimum was popular in this era. So, I mean, can anyone be held accountable?
I have seen them in concert 5 times.
Yeah.
There you have it.
I have legitimately
listened to them yesterday.
Now that you mention it, you I think it's not hard to imagine you with Juggalo makeup on, John.
Oh, it would be. As much as I love Limp Bizkit and Korn, I did not like ICP. I know, Danny, you were down with ICP.
I mean, in a semi-ironic sense, yeah, I would say I'm down with ICP.
He ironically, for his wedding dress, as a Juggalo drink Fago for irony.
Wow.
Speaking of, shout out Kenny Boucher. Saw him at LVO. You look good.
Speaking of LVO, not Kenny Boucher, I feel we'd be remiss to not talk about LVO and some of our best memories from the weekend and kind of things that happened. This was my personal favorite here at Meme Forum. which is, Danny, do you want to describe what we're seeing here?
Ooh, okay. Yeah. Chad Alexander Quennell just rocks up to the table, dethrones the number 1 ITC player. And so this meme is the classic play on an exit sign with a car skidding out as it careens around the bend, obviously turning off into, instead of win LVO again, he's turning on to ruin the leader's chance and leave.
So
What
I
happened?
think we had, I think was it our third stream game, or fourth, somewhere around there. Alex Quennell versus Vic VJ, number 1 player in the ITC. They were to have an amazing game.
That happened on our stream?
That did happen on our stream.
Wow.
You edited the video. I think it was round 4 or 5. Or something. But anyway, he rocks up, beats Vic. Therefore, meaning there's no way Vic can actually win the ITC based on who else is in attendance and everyone else's records. After the game, we were doing interviews after the game with the winners and the losers, just kind of get their thoughts on things. And as Vic was being interviewed, I was off to the side with Alex. And I was like, so, man, how does it feel to be the number 1 in the ITC? And he was like, oh, he's number 1 in the ITC? Oh, that's kind of cool. And I'm like, yeah. He was like, I had no idea. I didn't even know who that was. Alex,
That's
after
funny.
this game,
I never heard of the guy.
I was describing it to my wife in the best way I could. The Alex Quennell has big Stephen Merchant energy.
Yeah, for real.
But like after the game, he concedes his next round and leaves because he had a flight to catch. So he rolled up with his pink Necron army that he hobbied together.
Which we may have teamed on this show. When I saw it, when I first saw it, I was like, "Is that the Hello Kitty Necron
That's the
army?"
one we made fun of.
It feels like, was it though? Like it's close. It's a cousin.
Yeah, it was close.
It's definitely a cousin of it. Yeah.
Oh, Kelsey letting us know, by the way, it was end of day 1. It was round 3.
Thank you. Yes. No, I was definitely in control of all of my mental faculties at that moment in time.
He rocked up with his pink Necrons, hobbying his way. Beat the best in the world, kind of wanders off stage like, oh, well, that was pleasant. Thank you very much. Wanders off, loses his next game and drops because he has a flight, which I think is the number 1 example of forge your own narrative that I've ever seen in Warhammer.
Or maybe he's just Warhammer's John Connor sent from the future.
That's possible.
No, wait a minute. That's not John Connor. You know what I mean, though.
Yeah. If Vic VJ was to win the ITC in 2023...
Maybe Jack Harpster is Warhammer 40,000's John Connor, and Alex Quennell is the Terminator sent back to stop Vic VJ. Know what I'm saying? You with me on
Vic
this?
VJ like Robert Pett in this analogy, and then
Vic VJ is the guy who starts Cyberdyne or whatever, and nukes the world.
So whose arm is getting cut off?
Vic VJ's probably.
Okay.
No, Alex Quennell's. Alex
Quennell's the Terminator.
But he's going to give at the last second.
No, he just said that Alex Quennell was Miles Dyson. Miles Dyson gets shot. He doesn't get his arm cut off, though.
No, it's the Terminator at the end that gets the arm cut off. But then we have this.
But perfect. He's too tall. He's too tall.
There are too many things on short cables. I almost destroyed my entire setup doing that. That was really dangerous.
It was worth it to confuse the entire stream and us.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Danny, what were some of your highlights from last weekend?
Getting to meet everybody and see everybody is always really good. Especially getting to meet some of the background folks that really helped out with the stream. Getting to spend time with like Dustin was really cool. Getting to comment on some of these games, these super high profile games, was really fun. Sleeping on an air mattress in a 60 fucking degree room with someone to turn down the air conditioning where I froze every night. That was one of the highlights of my LVO experience.
One of my highlights was I shared a room with Danny.
And almost killed him with hypothermia. In a desert. Pretty cool.
Unique way to die.
After the thing, I still had schoolwork to do. I set up a little desk off the where to kind of do my coursework. And whenever I came to bed, I could time Seth snoring. So that mother snores very loudly. And then every 30 minutes or so, there's like a 10-minute break where he doesn't snore.
That's
So
right.
I was lying in bed like, okay, it's go time. I have 10 minutes to fall asleep.
Do you mean 10 minutes where he stops breathing? That's called apnea.
Look, all that matters is that I could fall asleep in that 10 minutes, and if that means that we don't solve his sleep apnea, then that's a risk
I gotta wake him up. No, don't.
No,
Nailed it.
I have to
He's
sleep.
fine. He'll come back. Just let me. I need this. Don't do it.
God, again, letting us know that's
I think
him
that was
dying,
the night
yes.
that I got in, and I was like, I don't have the capacity to set up my CPAP tonight. I'll just die a little. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Val, what about you? How was your weekend?
What weekend?
Last weekend.
Last weekend.
Yeah, how have you go?
Last weekend was it was an emotional roller coaster, as these things always are. But I have to say, I think it ended out with a really cool show.
Yeah.
And just a really awesome team. Like the talent that we had in front of camera was really awesome. Like everyone who stood and delivered really did deliver. And it was great being able to have such a deep bench to pull on, because then, I felt like that made actually Peter and Adam better. Adam would never admit this, but he does get tired. And Peter is just a sour, miserable human being. So like giving him a few moments to reflect on things and like rest up and stuff, I think was good. But overall, I think it really came into its own and was totally not stressful while setting up and getting it off the ground. It was great.
I think my favorite shot, well, there was two shots that were amazing from the whole weekend. One was just sad Nick Nanavati walking away after winning.
That was great in the shadow round, yeah.
Yeah, in the shadow round, Nick won his game, just instantly left, and we just got the shot of him walking alone up the hall.
Yeah.
And then the other one was when we pulled Vanilla up to do an interview and then pushed him out of the way to zoom in on the table behind him where there was still a game going on.
Yes. And me energetically being like, let's cover the game that's still going on. And then making you guys figure out how to do that. I think Danny and Seth on that call, maybe? Or was it you and John? I don't know. But
who knows?
Yeah, that was John and I think, for where we set up the second second table after the first game finished. Yeah.
Yeah.
John and
I. It was good. And then also there was like a 10-minute period where people kept subbing because I made fun of their stupid names.
By the way, I just have to say thank you so much to all of our sponsors, because the audience is useless, and I would be a bankrupt human being if it wasn't for our sponsors. So thank you so much for the sponsors. Screw you, audience.
You listeners.
I do mean that. I do mean that, except for the people, of course, who subbed and actually helped us out. It was a mammoth task, and I think we kind of met the challenge really well. I don't know. I was super proud in the end. I won't lie. Those things are crazy endeavors to try for. And then you got Joe Cool over in the corner just clicking a million times a second. I don't know if anyone went over to watch Joe work, but it is a little creepy. He reminds me of
someone work.
He reminds me of the Russian guy from GoldenEye, like Boris. With the pen, except it's his mouse, and he's just always clicking. Like he finds there's this one spot on the screen where he can like go where he's not actually clicking on anything, and then he clicks like 1,000 times in like 1 minute, and then he like moves his cameras. Everything's also done with mouse, no keyboard. It's wild to watch.
Mm-hmm. And also, Nurgle Matt, also in chat here, but also on the commentary team for War Games Live all weekend, as well as most of the FLGN talent as well. Kind of rotated over there.
Why are we whispering? Yes.
Our favorite
Drunk Paul Murphy, who afterwards I was chatting with him. He was like, he's talking about how he gets on the air, and then he's immediately like, "Oh, I've made a terrible mistake." Like in his head, like he knew he had to get out of there like fast. So I thought he handled himself quite well, and is a consummate pro. But
was that before or after the running star jumps behind the camera?
Before the running? He knew at that point. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
went on to do the star jumps.
It went on to continue to do the star jump.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you have limited.
I probably can't make this joke. Actually, never mind.
If you super chat $30, Camilleri can make that joke.
I don't know. I feel like I don't know. There's lots of one amazing thing. I'd be remiss if I didn't shout this out. Was John's field promotion to field producer.
Yeah.
And
I demoted myself from on-air talent to behind-the-scenes runner.
But just absolutely like made the show sing, and like without your efforts, I think I would have not. My voice would never have recovered, because I literally lost my voice yelling at people on Friday, Saturday.
Also, Kenya super chatted $5 too, so appreciate it.
Oh, hot damn! Thank you guys.
Thank you. Guys.
So sponsors are great. Listeners suck, apart from Tanya and Kelsey, who gave us money.
Yeah,
that's the message we're taking away
from the team. So thanks, guys. It's like when I super chatted trying to get something going. It doesn't work, guys. Like this is miserly, like these miserly penny pinchers that we call an audience, just not giving us their damn money. That's it. Half the show's going behind a paywall. All right, you deserve this. You asked for it.
But Val, no one will pay for that. I will say, Kelsey, in chat there was just phenomenal, stepping up, becoming like Frontline's official photographer. All of the pictures you see on Frontline Gaming's community page and all the good pictures. Kelsey did an amazing job of those.
Showed up with like a steamer trunk of like chocolate covered macadamia nuts. I don't know if this guy's family has a macadamia nut and chocolate plantation or something, or what's going on, but I ate way too many chocolate covered macadamia nuts for
That's like the home for that over on that side of where he is. There's like a lot of macadamia nut farms there.
Well, does he have one? Like, does he have? Like, it's crazy to me. There's a lot.
We have someone in chat saying, "I'm financially destitute at the moment." Sorry, dude. We're mostly kidding. Not for you, though, but for others.
No, it's not.
I'm not. Like I'm just, I'm a bottom of the barrel, low quality individual, and I mean, I'm not.
I will say, as of time publishing, like how many views are we on for that LVO stream right now? Like close to 300,000.
Really?
Like 280.
I've been reticent in looking at the numbers. I always get nervous.
It's I think the biggest Warhammer stream ever, and I don't know if there will ever be a Warhammer stream at that scale again. So let's take a look at kind of like the other scale of stream from LBO, where I saw this picture on Twitter here on this next slide. Val, why don't you take this one over? Tell me, what are we looking at here?
Yeah, what is this?
So what we were looking at here seems to be, the lighting's not so good, so it's a bit shadowy, I would say. I'd say this might be a shadow round. And you'll see a man in what I assume is that maybe some form of an MMA cutoff T-shirt.
We'd have to ask Adam Camilleri.
With an upside-down colonial American flag on it, holding what looks to be Skype call with a well-known AOS personality, providing some handheld coverage of the Shadow Round to the internet, which was not covered by Games Workshop.
Is this so? Do we see like Val? You see this as more as a sustainable way of streaming in the future, like rather than
just having a beefy dude just plant next to the table with an iPhone. Yeah, that's how we started. That's literally how Adam and I started doing this shit with Pete. Literally was a cell phone and an out of shape guy standing next to the table. That was really the difference that we had. So. I guess I didn't consider that instead of like getting fancier equipment, we could have just gotten a more in shape camera guy. That may have actually a lot of
for Warhammer.
A lot of problems. Idiot.
Terrible.
Hindsight's
do you see?
Also, I do appreciate that that was a secret. That particular Warhammer personality pulled, and I think it's fabulous. I think it was an amazing little piece of guerrilla journalism, and no one got hurt, and I think it was great.
Because GW chose not, like they had the AOS stream for the LVO weekend, and they chose not to stream the Shadow Round, right?
Yeah, there was no coverage of it. Again, I don't know. I don't want to get in any hot water here, but there was no coverage of it. And as far as I know, he didn't do any of those things when GW was actually streaming. And this is a guy talking who literally stole the GW broadcast from the LVO finals of 2020 that were being hosted by Reese and Frankie at their own tournament and then dubbed over my own casters. And we actually had we actually had our own table boss just standing there, and no one seemed to have an issue with the fact that we had a dude standing there. So it was comical, but that was 2020. That's Richard Siegler's first win, and there's the Games Workshop coverage again with the guys running the tournament doing the coverage, but not on our channel because we had Pete and Adam doing it, and it was probably still the best coverage I ever was part of.
Yeah.
And I had my drone work. My fucking drone work. God damn it. Danny,
Yeah, we couldn't get that
you had
going.
one job. You had one job, Danny. What happened there?
Right.
What happened to the drone?
I don't know.
God damn it.
I mean, have we tried
You should have
just starting a
tested that.
cell phone camera streaming and then just throwing it across the room?
The original drone cam really was very close to that because what it was just like a screen share of like the drone software.
Yeah.
That's why you can see all the telemetry and stuff on the screen in the original drone cam. But the technology is supposed to exist to make this thing work now, and it just is so upsetting that couldn't get it.
Yeah.
If whatever time it is, wherever I am, when I finally get fucking DJI drone to connect to an RTMP server, I will go live immediately to the FLGN with whatever it is that happens to be getting recorded at that time.
Yeah, Val, I guess
cool.
we got to set up a balloon.
Yeah,
That's the comment from
Gotta be
chat.
careful.
Yeah,
my drone. It is a Chinese drone. I mean, it might get shot down by an F-22 Raptor. That was
maybe.
probably the
That'd be
biggest
pretty cool,
impact in like military history. By the way, just incredible that an F-22 Raptor was used to shoot down. It also might be the only kill that the F-22 has IRL. I don't know if that's
Oh,
true, but it
I don't know about
probably
that.
could be.
$26.8 million to destroy a helium balloon is a fair trade-off.
Was that the amount of missiles that were launched at it? Because
Oh, I have
that
no
feels
idea.
light. I mean, the airframe itself would be in the hundreds of millions.
Just a bunch of people like high-fiving each other because, like, yeah, we did it. We used billions of dollars of technology on this balloon.
It's an air superiority fighter, and quite literally, the only thing giving it a run for its money in the entire sky is a fucking balloon. And that's
I will say, chat coming in. We're going to move off politics here in a second, but it's the first ever air-to-air combat an F-22 has ever seen.
That's what I'm saying. Yes,
and it's
yes,
also
there
the
you go.
first air-to-air kill of a child's balloon.
Incredible. No, I mean balloons. Look, reconnoitering with a balloon is a tradition that goes back probably at least to Napoleonic times. Certainly, the American Civil War. Balloons have been giving people a leg up for a long time. I'm not saying that a balloon casually drifting across the entire North American continent from China isn't shoot down worthy. It's comical, but nonetheless, I think it's amazing that the F-22 has one kill because one of the most amazing. It's basically an alien spaceship. The F-22.
Maybe use a BB gun though, or kind of like
what if there was just a Chinese guy in a lawn chair underneath the balloon, and he just ran out of BBs, and it's just that guy.
It's really
and then the F-22 Raptor pilot gets up there and is like, "Well, I'm pot committed. I got to hit this guy with a missile. I got no choice."
All he was doing was making a Forge World run to the Art of War trap house. And speaking of Art of War,
an F-22 shooting, just for the record, John, an F-22 shooting down a weather balloon from the Chinese over America. I don't think this is political. This is not a political thing. This is a factual happenstance. There was a balloon. And an F-22 Raptor did scramble from whatever base it was stationed at and then shot it down with missiles.
Fair.
I mean, these are things that happen.
There's a big event at LVO that had a lot of controversy. I don't know what the resolution was, so maybe you guys can shed some light involving Art of War. Happened later on in the tournament. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about here. But it's this guy here.
Far more dangerous.
I blanked out names. but it says 95% sure John Parsons stole my chess clock after aggressively expressing that he did not want to use one. He was sporting Art of War jersey and Art of War as his team for the tournament. I question if such a toxic person is actually a member of the Art of War team, but I just wanted to put some visibility to a toxic player and potential theft. Danny, is it possible that a toxic person can be a member of the Art of War team?
Well, yes.
No, that's impossible. There's no possible way.
How you doing? I'm in the Art of War.
I mean,
I also
look at
identify
Adam.
as a toxic personality.
Yeah,
2 of them, in fact. Hi.
Amazing.
that's the kind of quality player that they're adding right there. You have Adam Smasher Camilleri.
I do smash chess clocks, like Captain James Hook from the movie Hook, specifically the movie Hook. None of that Peter Pan crap.
Dustin Hoffman.
I
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
Stephen Box
Hey,
followed a chess clock, and now when he hears that flick, 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 Adam just gets all worried.
He was so unrecognizable in that film, Dustin Hoffman.
It was amazing.
Hairy knuckles on that Robin Williams though. Very hairy knuckles. That's it. I'm out. See ya.
Disgusting.
What does that say about him?
But Danny, I guess what's your take on this here? This was a very public post. It was made saying that someone stole their chess clock because they were mad they would have to use it. Now I'm no detective, but are people?
Claim.
Yeah, please continue.
It's a spurious claim that this person has put on the internet. Clearly, I mean, come on. Anybody who's Art of War isn't going to steal somebody's clock, like after not wanting to use it. I mean, that doesn't seem like something that such an upstanding organization would ever allow to happen in the ranks, right?
No.
I mean, come on.
You can't just gift time or steal time from an opponent. That wouldn't happen.
This is one thing, though, that I do want to make very clear, that if there's one thing in surplus at a Warhammer tournament, it's clock. I mean, there's so much clock in that room. It's pretty dank. In fact, it is a humid, congested, clock-filled area, and quite frankly,
it's clocky, if you will.
It would be hard. It would be hard to reach your hands out in any direction and not just have a handful of clock. So I don't know what this guy's saying. I mean, if he wanted clock, he could have gotten it.
Yeah. Danny, do you think it's likely someone spent thousands of dollars to travel to Vegas in order to steal a $15 chess clock?
Well, I mean, I don't think that. I mean, no, obviously. I mean, clearly, we've talked about this already, but this person is not. You're not going to just steal a clock like that because you want a $15 clock. You're going to steal it because you're being spiteful, John. Yeah.
Well, that actually goes right into my next question here, Danny Val. What's the pettiest thing you've ever done to an opponent?
Oh no.
I'm very excited by how much Dickie's laughing in my ear right now, looking at that.
So, what petty things have I done to my opponent? I want to know what reputationally have I done that's petty to an opponent? Exactly. It's from who?
Apparently, we've heard stories.
Oh, I guess at the ETC I was pretty petty. Yeah, that's true. Definitely petty there. But I was outmatched and losing every single time. So I mean, they had to earn that. Yeah.
Danny, what about you?
I think it's probably the story I've told where my opponent was rolling really hot with his high elves, and so I grabbed a dice off the table and put it in my mouth and then spit it at him.
That's a power move.
I think the pettiest thing I ever did was against you, Danny, when you were obviously winning. But knowing how much you hate individual dice rolls, I spent the rest of the game rolling all dice individually and quoting to you from the rule book that you got to do it one at a time because I want to see if I want to re-roll any of these.
That sounds right.
It's quite fantastic.
Love you, buddy.
Love you too. Now, this is something else I spotted at LVO. I was going to turn it into a bit that we're going to film. Then I decided to do production stuff instead. But this gentleman here in the back of his shirt, he's a legend. I don't know if we can enhance here. But on the back of his shirt, lots of team shirts going around, by the way. Lots of great nicknames. This guy's name is Petey Punch Beef. And he's wearing that on the back of his shirt. God bless you, Age of Sigmar. But Danny, what did this man do to end up with the nickname PD Punch Beef?
Oh man. Well, we're demonetized anyway, right? um I don't know if this is a story that's appropriate, but I'm just gonna tell it anyway. So this guy's name is actually Peter. It's not Pete. Pete is the shortened version of his name.
Peter was his
and
father.
So he's of the famous Chesapeake Punch Beefs. And he went by Peter his whole life. One day he walks up to his parents and he's like, I want you to start calling me Pete. And they're like, you're disowned. So they disowned him. So he decided to take up the name himself, even though he lost out on the famous Punch Beef family fortune. And he lives a life on the road as a professional or a ne'er-do-well 40K player.
AOS player.
Oh,
I was just
gonna
say he was a sexual deviant. Move on from there. But Val, you've seen a lot of the back of people's shirts streaming in your travels. What's the best nickname you've seen on the back of someone's shirt?
What's the what nickname?
The best nickname. So you have stuff on the back of people's shirts. Like, for example, I took a great picture of Anthony Vanelli and Jack Harpster. So their back of their shirts had violent snacks. What's the best one for you?
I mean, I mean, this is kind of low hanging fruit, but I am a big fan of the Machine on the back of Richard Siegler's jersey, and that was just because of many dramatic shots I was able to get with him, like just sort of hunkered over a table with Machine written on his jersey. I always thought that looked really badass. And also, I'm a big fan of something called Glengarry Glen Ross, in which Shelley the Machine Levine is the over the hill and underperforming real estate agent in this local sales office. And so whenever I think of the Machine, I actually think of someone closer to like Gil from The Simpsons. I like imagining Rich Siegler as kind of just, oh, come on, old Siegs needs this.
We got another super chat here from NoScope 13. This is easily the worst show ever. Keep up the good work, guys. We'll read literally anything if you super chat it. Just as a heads up. That's cool. And I really now Richard Siegler's always just Gil from The Simpsons for me, and like he didn't win the season. It's like, oh, Gil needs 2023. Moving on. I found this one online here. This is an old 2,000 point Howling Griffin Space Marine Army from 2nd edition. Danny, what are we looking at here?
All right, let me hold on. I'm going to enhance this real quick.
Oh man.
Let's see. Looks like a couple of tactical squads, a Devastator squad. I think there's a Dreadnought and a Land Speeder.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And then a chaplain, a captain, and 2 librarians.
There's a Termi in there too.
Yeah, he's the epistolary, I think. One of the librarians is in Terminator armor.
So, do you guys, because when I saw this picture, it was like a real throwaway for me. I don't ever remember the game being this small. Like, have we been just playing like 40K so long that like we're used to like 80 to 100 models a side here? What about you, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, it was this small at one point in time, for real. I mean, like even orc armies were like maybe 30 or 40 models.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Val, how many do you see armies getting bigger in the future to kind of try and get sales, seemingly what they've done, going from like 2nd to 8th, where we see kind of everything kind of increasing their size? Or are we going to see kind of more realism with like smaller homes, less kind of hobby space where we try and go smaller?
I think actually, I don't know if anyone was paying attention to Tabletop Titans recently. I think they're actually, armies will go bigger, but physically bigger. I'm thinking we're going to see 100 millimeter, 150 millimeter scale. Like driveway jockey size Space Marines. So I think we're going bigger.
Okay.
Perfect.
Cool.
The next go on here.
No one else saw the very large Kill Team game that they played.
No, yeah, at LVO
These
they played
are-
Kill Team with the McFarlane models, right?
or maybe Joy Toy. I don't know what they were.
There's a lot of dildos,
Well-
guys.
No 40K, just purple wangs all over the place. Speaking of purple wangs, the next slide I have here is called No Girls Allowed. I'm not touching the female Space Marine thing, but this guy here composits that there should be no females in 40K at all, due to their delicate sensibilities.
Oh,
Danny, what are some of the pros and cons of this take?
I have to do both pros and cons of this take.
You could choose
do the
one,
pros here.
Val will do the other. What's the pro?
The pro is that this was written out loud for people to rip this person mercilessly apart because it's such a shitty take. The cons are that people like this still exist in the community.
Val, do you feel women should not exist? Oh, sorry. Turn the page.
And why do you feel that way?
In 40K.
Got it. Well, I mean, this is definitely wow. Talk about low hanging fruit, guys. I mean, that is the type of person who probably is unfamiliar with women in general. Who might spell, as Adam has on my board here, virginas. That's VERGINA.
That's just vagina with an Australian accent, like
Yeah.
vagina.
Vaginas. Which apparently you can find in the Outback. Perhaps this person
I
should
don't think so.
Steakhouse?
I don't think that's how that works.
should go on a life changing adventure deep in the Australian outback, looking for vaginas.
That's not a vagina.
That's not a vagina. What?
That person asked themselves that question very often.
What are they? Question mark. Look, this person also clearly, I don't know, I'm just hankering a guess here, also has never gone to war. I'm going to say that they also have, they also probably have very delicate sensibilities. I'm not a person who's been to war, but I have read a lot of books about war, and I've also watched a lot of documentaries about war, and he doesn't give me like war vibes. And
No.
I think he wouldn't have been able to as accurately describe the matchup of an F-22 Raptor versus a hot air balloon as I did only minutes ago. So I challenge this guy to find a vagina somewhere deep in the outback of Australia and then talk to me about F-22 Raptors. He's not mad.
Well, we're going to round out this show with, I think, the number one model from this guy's collection here on this next slide.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. Oh, perfect.
Danny, go ahead and describe this real quick.
Oh, all right. So somebody's taken a Warlord Titan, but they put like thighs and tits on it in classic weeb fashion. It's like a Titanicus scale. It's really disappointing.
That's not disappointing. Come on, man.
No,
Danny-
yes, it is. Stop.
Danny, Val, what is the name of this class of Titan?
It's clearly a Titan. I mean, you don't even have to
Umami Milker's
modify it.
last Titan, obviously.
The Juicy class?
It's I got nothing. However, it's clearly a Titan. And by the way, of the thickest quality. I like that. That is a fine Titan. For Adam's own viewing appraisal, could you please return the
That's coming in
Titan
great
to
with Adeptus Thictanicus.
Ooh, pretty good.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Have you
Big
seen
titty
it?
Titan.
All right, okay. I don't know. I just think that's just a remarkable, breathtaking piece of design. I like that it's tasteful. It's tasteful.
Yeah,
This
tasteful.
this Titan is confident. This Titan is in charge. Definitely, no, man, like this Titan is gonna mess you up and not feel bad about it.
This
Titan
Titan, though,
isn't chained
only,
to Asrubal Vec's skiff. The Titan is crushing Asrubal Vec. So yeah, man, give it up for
this
that.
Titan, though, is only
Titan.
78% of the points a regular Titan is, which is disappointing in the future here.
Yes.
Danny, Val, last thoughts before we wrap this up here?
Well, on that note of, I don't really have anything to say. Nope, I'm done.
Adam, last thoughts. How's the fantasy game going?
Yeah, did you win?
I'm losing but turning it around.
Okay.
Man,
Beautiful.
I had one of the best turns of all time.
Just remember,
Good
you
turn.
have to wheel in a specific way, otherwise he's going to get pissy
Yeah, do it
when
right.
you're turning things around.
Haven't really had
Guys,
to wheel much. Just been crushing.
that's all the time we have for today's episode of Grim After Dark. Thank you for joining us as we explored the grim darkness of the 41st millennium and beyond. Remember to follow us on the socials, to join the conversation. Hit the subscribe button. Leave a review. Honestly, I don't care what the review says, but 5 stars is minimum. Until next time, stay safe, stay Warhammered, and remember, it's pretty grim after dark.